I know he says he is.
And KHFC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content. In the Wade and Carter Show, there's all responsibilities for their.
What's the weather?
Coming up on today's show, Joe Biden says Donald Trump raked up more of a debt than he will in his administration. Is your crypto safe? Big hacker job on cryptocurrency.
Astros.
All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Clint, let us show you how it's done. Show you how it's done, son.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
77 with a high of 92. No rain. It's a beautiful day.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm a little anxious. We have a
Big shoot.
county commissioner lurking around the studio.
Holding court.
He's got a red pen in his pocket. Reminds me of Judge Zeller. Slash and burn on that budget process they're doing downtown today.
It's a red napalm pen.
Right. The napalm, the red burner pen.
Let's do this.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by our great friends at Deerland Feed. I bet Clint Ives could tell us about shoplifting at Deerland Feed back in the day when he just needed some bifin.
Rat poison.
They just had some rat poison. Yeah. That sticky tape that you put up and the flies go to it. I bet they've got that down there at Deerland Feed. Whatever you need, you can get it from our friends at Deerland Feed. It's amazing. It's not just for ranchers. It's great around your home, your yard. I highly recommend you go down. You'll find something you want, all the way down to some really nice plants.
Yeah.
77 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 92. It's going to feel like, about
109.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
Fried egg on the asphalt.
You really could.
Scott
It's gonna be
Tomko,
hot.
good morning. Justin Glass, Zen, Kendra Douglas, Karen Webb, Judge Posey, Andy Rhea Jr.,
Hi,
Bobby
Judge.
Leister and the Leisterometer holding steady to 1,004 on the YouTube
I
scale.
saw Scott Tomko yesterday at HEB. He looked like an old man. He was sitting over there waiting at the pharmacy. I don't know what he was waiting for. Maybe they were verifying that it was worth expending Viagra on his Medicare. I don't know. But he was sitting there with a mask on, hunkered down like an old sick cat.
You sure it was him?
Pretty sure. If it wasn't, it could have been him. No, it was Scott. It was Scott. There's Ricky Champagne King.
Hard to tell with masks on people.
Yeah.
Patrick Strauss, good morning. Tracy Price, David Glass.
They were just saying Medicare was going, I don't know. There's no life left in it. It's $15 a throw. We're not paying that. His wife's going, he doesn't need it. Yeah.
You just violated HIPAA and Scott Tomko's
Right. Just manhood.
reputation.
You got hit by as many pitches from Scott Tomko as I did. You know him a couple. He
Tracy
had
Price
absolute
said,
control. He had one of the best pitchers I ever saw as a kid. And he had absolute control, and he hit me every time I went to the plate. What does that tell you?
tells you all you need to know.
We're good friends.
Robin Moore Knipling, David Glass, Rena Scherer, good morning. Lisa Poole, Adam Sugar, H.R. Mallory, Jim Simpson, Diane Tippett, Lorena Bargenbrook.
He'd have 4 hit batsmen in a game, all named Brent. And have 18 strikeouts.
Your on base percentage was awesome.
Yeah, but he'd strike everybody out. I'd just stand on first.
Jesse Reynosa, good morning. Your Aunt Betty. Aunt Betty's in. Good morning. My Aunt Betty, too.
Hello, Aunt Betty.
Terry Murray, saw Terry yesterday. Good to see you, Terry. Greg Kutots, good morning. Jennifer Rayburn's in. Glad to see everybody in. Scott Snow, good morning, all.
Oh, goodness.
Where do you want to start? $3.5 trillion spending plan approved by the Senate yesterday on basically party lines. And your buddy Joe Biden has the nerve to slam President Trump for racking up $8 trillion in debt and blames his tax cuts on it. And let's not forget, his tax cut proposal originally had cut spending to pay for the tax cuts. But the Democrats and the rhinos in the House wouldn't go for it. And so he wasn't allowed to cut the spending to pay for the tax plan.
Yeah, it's very odd to me that he wants to blame Trump for everything while he's spending trillions just out the back door like it's nothing. He says, don't worry about my spending. I'm going to tax the rich. I guess that by his definition, we're rich.
Chuck Schumer has the gall to say that this $3.5 trillion budget will restore middle America and middle class America.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
I don't know. TLAT says that I won't be here on the 20th. That's next Friday, but I should be here the next Friday from 7 to 8. Yeah, I think I'll be here on the 27th. I think I'll be here. We're going to have a service for my dad on the 27th. That'll be at Northside Baptist. I'll get you the time.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, but it's not at 8. Although Dad would say, do it at 7 and y'all get to work. That's one great thing about my father. He would say, y'all don't. Just get this done and go to work.
Adam Sigurd asked how we can explain this Major League Baseball pitcher throwing 30-mile-an-hour strikes. Who's he talking about?
I don't know, but Adam Sigurd says, what did T-Lat and Little Wayne have in common? The young Carter. That's nice. I'm the middle-aged Carter. I woke up this morning. I felt old. You guys ever wake up and just feel like, man, if I could go back to bed for 7 or more hours? Clint wakes up early. We got to at least say hi to Clint Ives. He's in the studio, and he's here. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you,
How
sir?
are you?
Great. I hung out with Bill Posey earlier.
Isn't he cool?
Yeah, he needed a co-host,
We love Bill.
and I think I was the 9th person he called.
See, the misnomer is that Bill needs a co-host. He allows Lee to hang around, but he does not need a co-host. He's Bill Posey.
Well, yeah, clearly you do.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
I think he tosses the old EFIS pitch.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Without me, the show would just be interesting and accurate. With me, at least it's.
We've had a face for radio for a long time.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Tell me what you've got going on the budget. What's the latest? Sheriff's getting more money?
Sheriff is getting more money. Just keeping a pencil running tab. We had our budget hearing with the sheriff. Yes, day before yesterday. I lost track of the days. And a little over $1 million going to the sheriff's office thus far. Just Victoria County's expression of our focus on public safety from the badge to the court system. Looking at 2 attorneys for the PA, some other odd ends in between the court system. But, our law enforcement's in uncharted water. And you got Sheriff Louderback coming, and certainly he can dwell on that better than I can. But those men and women behind a badge, they need resources and they need support right now.
Well, because they're not getting it from the federal government.
No, they're not getting it from the feds, and there's a shift all around them.
Was there an F in there?
Yeah, I want to make sure.
There's a shift all around those guys in the larger counties with liberal county judges and liberal sheriffs that have taken a far left position on criminal justice.
A far left shift?
Shift.
Doing shift work.
For the Commissioner's Court in Victoria County, we're just focused on not allowing that in Victoria County.
Well, we're proud of that. You guys kind of gave the chorizo to T. Michael O'Connor for 57 years. And then now all of a sudden, Justin Marget's in there. He's younger, a little better looking, and boom, y'all start throwing out the cash. What's the deal?
Yeah.
I'm with you. No,
I'm running some numbers. I'm going back deep, but if memory serves, I believe the sheriff's office budget grew about 7 or 8 million during T. Michael's administration.
yeah, he was good at it. And I love T. Michael as sheriff. He was really good at the woe is me as you hear the O'Connor chopper go over the top. It's.
Well,
I'm here on the deck of our riverboat.
ask for double.
Right.
And when the stingy commissioners cut it in half, you walk away with exactly what you wanted. That's a playbook.
He's pretty smart.
That's a playbook in politics that's been around for a long time.
Well, I mean, it just worked in D.C. Weren't they asking for like $5 trillion and ended up with 3.5?
What's an extra trillion or two when you reach that amount?
Yeah.
And this is on top of that, $1 trillion infrastructure bill. So we're looking at, the real number is $4.5 trillion on this thing.
Insurmountable.
And this is just the budget. This is the yearly budget, $3.5 trillion.
It's crazy, right?
It's insane.
It is insane.
Those are numbers you can't even wrap around your
No, they.
What is a trillion?
So when they,
I
do
can't
deal-
write that many zeros in a row and make them look nice to get to that number.
My calculator says error. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I remember the picture. If it was a dollar bills, a dollar, then here's 1,000, then 1,000 thousands is 1,000,000, and $1 million it's a nice little 3 by 3 foot stack. And then when it went to $1 billion, like it shows a guy standing there, and
I
it's
wouldn't
almost
know,
like
Mr. Money Launderer.
it's almost like there's so much cash and there's only so much cocaine, but the guy is standing there like this, and there's like a building beside him. That's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. Now, $1 trillion, honestly, would be like the man standing on Manhattan Island. That's what it would be like. $1 trillion is 1,000 billions, and every billion is 1,000 millions. And Joe Biden just spits it out with no guilt. Don't forget the last spending bill we had was under Barack Obama for $900 billion. So it was almost $1 trillion.
Where does it come from?
It's the United States, trivia for you. In the history of our country, 67% of all the cash that's ever been printed in the history of our country has been printed in the last 12 years. It is more than insane.
And we're seeing $40 2x6s
Right.
and inflation that's unprecedented.
That has become agreed upon. People are starting to agree that inflation is
Grew at a lower rate, though, last month than they expected.
still at a huge high.
Have any of you scholars read Atlas Shrugged?
We know of it, but I have not.
Every single person should read or listen to an audio version of that book. Written in the 50s by Iron Man, controversial in its day, but almost prophetic. Dagny Taggart, I read it years ago, but it's one of those, it's political fiction that resonates with you, especially if you have some conservative ideals about you. Dagny Taggart is in charge of a strong railroad company, and all of a sudden, slowly throughout the book, there's the main plot and then there's subplots, but you start noticing things that become unavailable. Simple things like copper wire, and how the fiber of the country just starts to deteriorate because the political policies over years created an environment where commodities were unavailable. We're seeing that today. You know, there's a shortage of now chlorine tablets. Why?
For your pool.
Why?
Because they're all made in China.
Lumber. You know, look at what lumber is doing to the housing market.
Beef jerky.
I've got a close friend of mine that sold their house to build a custom home. Made the decision a year ago. His price tag went up 40 grand.
Yep.
Just in lumber costs.
Yep.
40 grand. Now, I wasn't fortunate enough to have a contract, which then the builder has to absorb that somehow. So somebody has to pay for it. Unfortunately for him, he does. But
Joe Biden.
Well, actually,
40 grand.
the
in
next
1 year.
the next guy that he builds a house for will pay for that.
40 grand from 1 year. Nothing changed at all. The design, everything, the blueprints of the house did not change, other than the price tag of the lumber.
Now, I've been told that lumber
Well,
prices
there were
are
some
creeping
supply
downward.
issues because when people were locked down, they were running to the local lumber store and buying it all up to build the decks that they would sit on when they weren't allowed to go anywhere, and bathrooms and things.
Without government involvement, there's the free enterprise and the capitalistic spirit. There's a correction to that stuff very quickly.
Mhm.
You saw it with the Eagleford Shell. You know, everybody that had a 1-ton truck was all of a sudden in the oil field. And so there's these short corrections to the market. There's no less trees on the planet to make lumber. So was it restrictions? Did government create this spike in inflation?
Yes, in a way.
You're a conspiracy
When states were locked down, they weren't running 3 shifts at the mill. They may have been running 1. I have a friend in the industry. They were down to 1 shift. He lives in Canada. They were down to 1 shift when they would normally be running 3. So you can't produce
That
all
guy,
the lumber that you.
and that
could have
guy has
produced.
free health care in Canada.
So there were some things that the government did, but you can't tell me that in the last 8 months we haven't figured out how to get close to back to regular production.
Saw Governor Abbott's post last night. He threw it up around 5 or 6, and it was about 8 by the time I saw it. And he was warning municipalities, local governments, schools against public arenas. He was warning them against violating governor's direct orders with imposing their own restrictions and this and that. And down at the bottom, the last thing he said was, we're past governmental restrictions. We are now in the days of personal responsibility.
Amen. There you go. Like I said, if you're old, fat, or sick, stay home. Wash your hands.
Why are you here?
Well,
He washed his hands.
I want to get your opinion on something. Let's say stay for a minute or until Sheriff Ladderback comes in. You're out. Okay, just hang on. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's your go-to tow-to. You need to get somewhere. You need a vehicle from here to there. You call Allen at 578-6300. Allen, Janet, Little Allen, they'll all come out. All the way up to a 75-ton crane, they'll come out, pull you out of the ditch and get you where you need to be safely. The VCS companies, Victoria's standard of service and communication, whether it's an iPhone 12 Pro Max at the only locally owned and authorized.
We're only a few weeks away from Apple unveiling their new product, right?
Right?
That should be soon.
They're going to skip 13.
I would think.
Nobody has lucky 13. Or you need surveillance, surround sound. You need a security system. Like I said, I've got a whole house security system with window breakage sensors and door sensors and 2 keypads and 1080p zoomable cameras, $54 a month. It's cheap. Reach out for that peace of mind to the VCS companies. Chesnick Furniture, 70 years in their current location at 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Chesnick and Love make your house a home.
They buy American and sell American.
There you go. Get down and get a best recliner. You can not only pick the size, the width, the weight limit of your recliner. We're going to get to why you might need a new weight limit recliner with some new business development in the city of Victoria. But you need to know that Chesnick and Love make your house a home, and you just do better at Chesnick.
101 years in business, folks.
Veracruz celebrated Caldo Wednesday yesterday.
National
Today,
Caldo Wednesday.
Things are back to being just fantastic. You got Taco Tuesday other places. They got Taco Tuesday every day. It's Taco Thursday. Yippee. Get in there. There's only one Caldo Wednesday.
Only one.
Veracruz has it.
It's only one bowl of Caldo.
And start now. Go to AJ's Detailing on your Facebook page and check out the before and afters. It'll blow your mind. I've seen it in person. It boggles the mind what the man can do. I was there the other day. There was a Volvo in there, and it was blue, beautiful navy blue car. And they'd already washed it. They'd already rubbed it. And I challenged him. I said, what is that? Is that bird poop? He goes, yeah, that's some kind of acid stains. It's very difficult to get that out. He's got like 3 different tools and some creams and paste. It was like going to the dentist. I'm like, and he goes, look at that. And it's like brand new paint.
Nice.
Unbelievable. I mean, so go to AJ's. He's going to be doing this full time now. The demand has grown so rapidly that he has expanded his time. He's going to do this full time.
And his facility, nice place.
So now, Adam Schugert, our Mensa guy, says that was a solid burn. In case you missed it, Brent, he just called you fat and old, as if I didn't get that.
Right.
Speaking of fat and old. So, you got the Victoria, the Del Norte deal up here on Navarro that the city had that like 7 acres, a beautiful piece of property right next to the Brown Bag, just south of Glasgow there. Guess what's going in there?
I've heard of like a retail food court.
A fat-ass food court. That's what's going in there.
Yes.
Let me tell you what's going in there. A Dunkin' Donuts, a Taco Bueno, a McAllister's Deli,
A Burger King and an Arby's.
a Burger King, and an Arby's.
So you'll be officing.
Get your fat on. Now, in the bag, there'll be dialysis and insulin. People wonder why they get COVID.
And a check cashing and a mattress store.
If you're one of the
Nowhere to be
people
found.
that's lying, by the way, that does absolutely nothing to grow our economy. And it is a dang shame that that's the highest and best use of 7 acres on the busiest street in town. It is a shame. It is tragic that fat ass Victoria is going to build 5 fast food restaurants, none of which are good for you.
Quick
On
serve, quick
Navarro.
serve eating options. Is the
Quick serve eating option, diabetic haven. That's what they're building. And instead of going to Shipley, now you go to Duncan. It doesn't change anything. It does not grow the pie. All it does is
Splits the
provide
pie.
taxable real estate for the city of Victoria. Nothing
No, they'll still be
good
paying
is coming.
taxes on it. I guess
Julie-
there's that.
Julie Fletcher says, hey, there's a dialysis facility across the street. There
Which
needs
came
to be.
first?
It is a waste of city money. Now, did the city sell that property or is it being developed by the city?
My understanding is they sold it.
Well, if they sold it, I mean, hats off to the entrepreneur. It'll do revenue. And for the first 6 weeks, I drove by Shipley this morning. I could have took a bus in there. There's nobody there. But 3
No.
weeks ago, they were lined up to Edna.
Yeah, here and this is, my joke isn't on the businesses, although I do hope they're able to find workers because some of the
You don't need
some of the
workers.
quick
It's all
serve
microwave. Womp, womp,
some of
womp.
the quick serve restaurants that I frequent, big signs in the window, help wanted, and there's like one person in there because they can't find any. So I hope that problem alleviates itself, but that's been festered by our federal government. But the gridlock, I'm glad this thing isn't opening until early 2020, 2022.
Wow,
It was hard to say.
It
So like
was
Val
hard.
Tillis.
you did.
Because if this thing was opening around Christmas time, the gridlock on Navarro would be even worse. Because with 5 of these locations, this city goes nuts when one new fast food place opens. We're going to have 5 in the same block. North Navarro, the 3 lanes going south because there's a median. The center lane and the curb lane, you will not be able to use those. The left lane will be the only one allowing you to go south through that area.
Oh yeah, for
Because
months.
people will be backed up trying to get in there because they've never eaten at a McAllister's when they leave town. They never ate at the Arby's when it was here, but we're going to get a new one, and they're going to line up for it.
So Stuart Martin
It's
makes a good
crazy.
point. Stuart Martin makes a good point. McAllister's has healthy food. They do. Jason's Deli, same type thing. Jason's better.
My knock isn't on the businesses.
A little bit.
It's-
Mine is.
Yours is.
Fat people.
Mine's on the behavior of Victorians when a new fast food place opens. It's just ridiculous, people.
You could-
Cane's open.
You could open a place called Cat Turds, and they would come and dig through the litter if you gave them a discount. Torrin Bale says, I like Duncan. Well, he does.
I like
because
the coffee
Torrin
at
likes
Dunkin',
the coffee.
yeah.
Yes, that's and deep in his heart, Torrin doesn't want to frequent the liberal Starbucks. It's a
Well,
true statement.
But on another note with this, these aren't the businesses that will sustain long-term growth for Victoria.
No, and you'll have ne'er-do-wells hanging around, lurking around. Got a dollar. Just more semi-urban blight. It's embarrassing. Our city's ugly. Do something about it, people. Our city is ugly.
Inez is bright and shiny.
God.
Just for the record.
You know Victoria's in a bad place when they get a busload of people. And we're going to Sinton this weekend to see how to make our city beautiful.
Speaking of Inez, we started to pencil some details for our second annual Cobra Cleanup, Inez, Texas. Probably looking mid-October, that thing.
I know you promoted that last year with BJ Nelson, the folks at White Trash Services.
It was an unbelievable experience in a very short amount of time.
Hypodermic needles.
Vodka bottles.
Yeah, all around.
But in a very short amount of time, there's 2.5.
Well,
weeks
it's
of-
quite the buzz when you inject that vodka
It was
straight into the
it
vein.
was the week after the Wade and Carter Inez anniversary party.
over 70 volunteers showed up. We covered over 10 miles of county roads in Inez proper. Great event. We're going to keep that momentum going.
Now this is why Rena Shear got elected 27 times. Some of the lights aren't working correctly either on Navarro. I waited 20 minutes for a left turn yesterday at Navarro and Sam Houston. How long is Clint Ives waiting for a left turn at Navarro and Sam Houston? Like one cycle?
I just don't talk about it.
Right.
Only right
Rena's
turns.
retired. She ain't got to be nowhere. She's like, I'm going to go when they let me.
We had our budget hearing with the newly elected tax assessor collector, Ashley Hernandez, yesterday afternoon. Rena, your office was left in good hands.
She's very nice. And that's, of course, Rena was a supporter of Ashley
She
too.
is looking at some software that's going to update what the
Right here,
paperwork that they do in there.
Adam Sheard comes in hot. Clint is responsible for the trash at Midway gas station.
Yes.
Tell people why. Tell people the law and why you don't just go out there with a grapple and pick all that up.
It's private property. Counties do not have the legal authority that the cities do. The city will come in and they'll condemn a piece of property. They'll go through the process and
Or they'll mow it and send you the bill.
and yes, and so they can demo derelict buildings and junky, abandoned stuff like that, and get a judgment on that deed. We can't.
Right.
We cannot touch private property under very, very slim and strict circumstances. Can a county touch private property?
And while we have you under oath and you're right here and the bailiff has his gun in your back to tell the truth, why is it that since the airport is in precinct 4 and you are the czar of precinct 4, why is it that you, Clint Ives, individually don't solve all the problems at the airport?
Couple reasons. We've got an airport commission that has full authority over the operations and the function of the airport. The commissioner's court still have budgetary authority over the airport, but a single commissioner can do nothing in that regard. Collectively, commissioner's court comes to the table and looks at budget issues. We've never once told the airport no. So you can't point a finger at a single individual. For the most part, commissioner's court.
Unless you had an excavator, then you might go out there and just start.
and assign blame to the shortcomings of an institution like the airport. But the airport we've made some good strides in the past couple of years with the airport. And you're going to see some big changes on the horizon. There's a lot of stuff in the works with the airport.
United Express has been a big
United has
change.
been a good Big 12 shot for the airport. But something that's occurring now that we haven't had ever is what we've kind of coined the term the Big Five. We've got buy-in from other local political factions. We've got the city, we've got the port, we've got the county, we've got the sales tax board,
And VEDC.
and VEDC.
It's going to be great. It's going to
Those
be great.
5 players came together in an MOU and a resolution, partnering in an effort to promote, encourage, and support the airport.
Is VEDC going to go, we got some fast food coming?
They're not involved in that.
That's never happened. The airport is not a quick fix. It's not a situation where you can just write a check. The airport is inundated with federal laws, red tape, and restrictions.
It was never meant to be a permanent facility. It was built in wartime to train pilots, and they thought, hey, as soon as this war's over, we're going to abandon it, which is what they did, and here we
It
got it.
took them a while, but the federal government just wanted to find a way to get it off their roll, their tax rolls, or their income rolls, or their budget line item.
Maybe
And
Joe
said, here,
Biden,
Victoria County, take it.
maybe Joe Biden can tax the rich and put $1 trillion into it.
You know, if you just look at
Be curious to see if there's any money coming from the infrastructure bill
for
for it.
it would be a huge lesson.
Because, I mean, that technically meets the definition of infrastructure.
That airport needs $100 million cash injection,
Wow.
conservatively. And we can't just go out there and do X, Y, Z with the airport because of federal restrictions and FAA policy and rules.
Right.
It's got to be studied. It's got to be analyzed. This stuff takes years. Just recently, we received a final report from the study on the runway. That runway needs $48-50 million.
Wow.
We can't. That's our annual budget for Victoria County, close to it. You know,
Right.
50. You get into the 50s, you're talking about our entire county budget.
Well, does it need to be rethought? Does the airport need to go away?
That gets controversial. You look at the economic impact studies that have been done on the airport, it is a key player with economic development. But without federal assistance, there is no way on a local level we can do a $50 million repair of that runway. It has to have federal partnerships.
Well, much like anything that goes on at the ports, right?
And that's-
Nobody's, I mean, these things are similar types of
But
partnerships,
that's
right?
just the runway infrastructure in itself.
Yeah.
Right.
We haven't looked at drainage. We haven't looked at what's underneath the runway, because it's underground.
You don't want to
drainage.
know what's under.
You don't
It's-
want to know.
It's underground drainage. So there's a large culvert infrastructure.
Because there's a urban legend that the Army just dug a big hole and buried a bunch of planes and munitions and other things.
I
underneath there
imagine it's
somewhere.
true. I do imagine it's true. There ought to be a way to do an ultrasound out there and figure that out.
Different times in the 40s and 50s. You wouldn't get away with that today, but it was different times.
Nuclear waste, just dig a hole, put it in there.
I don't think ultrasounds work the way they do with it, like on the movies with ground penetrating stuff. They don't show images of things. I think they just show reflections that there might be something there.
There actually has been a study done out there. I think there were some cores drilled. They do know where, right, Clint? They know where they think that stuff might be if it was there.
I can't.
It's kind of, yeah,
I can't answer that.
right, right.
But the second piece of that is we've wrapped up years in development of looking at the runway. We've received that. Now we've started the process of looking at the underground drainage. We'll go through that process. At the end of the day, we'll have a full package on what that airfield needs. Now we've got to go find the funding. Now we've got to lobby support from the feds and the FAA. United is a player in that, because our enplanements come into play with that application and chasing down some federal assistance.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go to the feds and say, hey, can y'all invest $100 million in Victoria Regional? Now we can do a 90-10 split. Can y'all cover $10 million? Well, now you've got the 5 players that come to the table. Okay, Victoria County is going to struggle with a $10 million match to that grant if it existed.
Yeah.
But if we can split it up with those 5 players, well, then the feds are going to say, well, where are your enplanements at? Because we don't really take you serious unless you're at 10,000 annually.
Right.
So
If you want to help the airport fly somewhere,
exactly.
if you want to help the airport in Victoria, go fly.
And I've done the math on this show before. You can show up if your flight's at 6:45. You can show up at 6 o'clock, and plenty of time to get on the plane. Parking's free,
Yeah.
but you don't have to get there any earlier than about 45 minutes prior
You'll
to
walk
departure.
right through.
Yeah.
No 2 hours in advance.
No.
Nothing like you used to.
You're not having to drive 2 hours to Houston to get to the airport. You're not then there sitting there an hour and a half
No, it's right.
prior to your flight.
And the convenience is you land at a hub where in the aeronautical world you're sterile. You don't go through security. You don't go through all the rigmarole.
And when they lose your bag, it's right there in Houston.
you jump on the next plane, you go where you want to go. So,
Right.
The only issue still remains trying to connect, mostly coming back from my perspective, than leaving, because there is only 2 flights, one in the morning, one in the evening, right?
It's tough to balance that schedule.
Well, it is, because we don't have the demand. It's that simple.
But we could create that demand. I mean,
If more people were flying out of here, but then there's also issues with, can you get into a gate at Houston? I mean, these things get negotiated well in advance. And that's the thing. You can't just fly an extra plane into Houston, because there's thousands of planes taking off from Houston every couple of hours.
It starts with the employments. Any application for federal assistance
Yeah,
and
but
federal buy-in starts with the employment.
and ours are up significantly
They are
with
up.
United.
We're on target to get over that 10,000 employment, which would be the first occurrence of that in a long time.
I get
Without throwing a bunch of people on a plane to fly around Victoria County and land and take them up again, when we had to play some shenanigans years ago.
chicanery.
Once we achieve that 10,000 employment status, it does put us in a different category with the feds, which makes writing grants easier.
Well, think about it. There's probably not that many. You take out the San Antonio's, Austin's, Houston's, obviously the real airports, Harlingen, and then you throw in people that have regional service.
Regional airports
Like maybe
struggle
Midland.
to
Midland might have
survive.
regional service.
everywhere.
Do they get 10,000? Maybe not. I mean, you're in a fairly small group of
That's right.
regional carriers that get
And
10,000.
highly competitive.
I get my numbers usually from Mr. Hartman. He keeps up with that very closely, and Mr. Hartman says, hey, it's on the right track.
But it's frustrating when the public misunderstands how complex the airport is.
Ricky King says, get over the problem. It just flies to Houston and nowhere else.
We're at the mercy of the feds.
Man, if it would fly to Dallas, though, I would think there's got to be people that would rather fly up there for.
It wasn't used.
Oh, but I just can't imagine because driving to Dallas.
You can't imagine, but the numbers back it up. There
I know,
was
but
no
it's-
demand.
all day butt whooping to drive to Dallas, just all day. When you get on I-35 and just the traffic's terrible, you have to go through Waco. Ugh.
You know, if you polled the community,
Can't stop at Collins Street Bakery though if you're,
Right.
you're flying.
Ugh.
if you polled the community and the community said, we want to fly to Denver, all right? It's not like we can just send an email and say, we want our United plane to
The gummy run, making a gummy run.
because you're at the mercy of where the feds think your market is at, but then you're also at the mercy of where United thinks your market's at. And so you know it's not just a matter of tweaking that schedule and tweaking that location.
I'm gonna tell you something. If Brother Gary Moses decides he wants to go to Denver, United's gonna open a route.
Now, what I have always thought would be successful is something from here to Louisiana, Lake Charles.
Oh, there's no doubt. We've talked about that. We talked about that here, and there were 200 people said, "I'm on. I'm in.
And maybe in the form of a private charter. I've always been surprised that a private company has not come in and a Friday departure with a Sunday return just to get the gambling community over there.
Friday, leave at 3:30, so you're on the ground in your hotel at 5 o'clock on a Friday in Lake Charles.
Because we've got buses that leave that do this.
Yeah.
Get Texas Coast Limo. Bob Constantine over there can shuttle you back and forth to the casino. I would think you could, honestly, I bet you could get with Tillman Fertitta, who owns the Nugget, and he'd help you with the infrastructure, the chaos
Remember the gambling?
to set it up.
You remember the gambling cruise?
Yeah, the one that caught fire.
Went on it several times.
That was Clint.
It was packed.
Clint caught it on fire.
When they took him for every dime he had.
Clint was the
All he was
guy.
left with was a pack of Strike Anywheres.
DJ Nelson says, beautiful Waco. Clint was the guy
I
that
like Waco.
Clint was the guy in the Guayabera walking on the deck. Cigars, marijuana, cocaine,
I was the victim.
Coca.
like when you're in Mexico.
Brent, you know what bad beat is in a casino, right? All right. A lot of casinos will have a running jackpot for a bad beat, right? I missed a bad beat jackpot on that boat in my 20s on one card.
Oh,
I had a straight flush to the king.
oh,
The other player had quads. He beat me. That would have been a bad beat had my straight flush been the ace. And it was like that table had a bad beat pot, and it was like 60 something grand.
would have changed you. You would have dropped out of high school. He was only 22 at the time, going into his junior year.
For the third time.
Third year as a letterman and outside linebacker in Edna. Folks, Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com. That's your home for your next car. Reach out whether you want Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi. They've got them all. They have gently pre-owned vehicles. More and more Cadillac Escalades showing up on the lot as people have decided that their old car named Thirsty has to go. Everybody's going electric. Reach out to Atzenhofer. Since 1926, Victoria's dealer. Do all your service, all makes and models. They'll paint it. They'll inspect it. Clint, you can get your truck inspected. Of course, I'm not sure that old white beater is going to pass.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. It's a throwback. It's a throwback Thursday with Clint Ives. He's got like a 4 of 8 on there, and it's 98. White Trash Services, 550-1826, all the way to beautiful, sunny Waco, Texas, and McLean Stadium. Reach out to BJ Nelson and her team at 550-1826 for weekly trash service in the 7-county contiguous area and parts of Lavernia, Lake Charles, and Lake Tahoe. Reach out to White Trash Services. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull yesterday. I called him and I said, JP, how are you? I haven't heard from you. He goes, I've been busy. I'm working. And I said, working? He goes, yes, Brent, working for businesses. And he threw out some words, analytics, algorithms, encryption.
Big words.
Yeah, crypto. He threw out all these words. I didn't know what they were.
But he
I have no
does.
idea what he does, but he does, and he can do it for your business as well. If he messes that up, you need to call the law offices of Steve Kidder and get after him.
But he won't.
No, he won't. JP's the best. So is Steve Kidder. You have, you want to adopt a baby? You want to adopt Clint? You want to?
I need support.
That might be illegal wrangling that Steve Kidder can't
Jenny
lasso.
comes with it. It's not a bad deal.
Jenny's getting tired of her guardianship.
Right. You're like Britney Spears, right? She keeps it because you were so irresponsible as a youth that she has a guardianship on you.
Her birthday is the end of this month. Have I told you what we're doing
No.
for her birthday?
She's going to run some 70-mile race.
Because,
then
Up and down the Grand Canyon
because we're
before lunch.
Because we're youthfully in love.
Right. What are you going to do?
Rim to rim, Grand Canyon, September 8th.
Oh, I was right.
Thank goodness. Rim to rim made me a little anxious there for a
It's
second.
a family show.
Wow.
24 miles, a 9,000-foot descent, 7 miles across the bottom, and then a 7,000-foot elevation climb.
You come up to the flood side.
Yeah, 24 miles.
Are you doing it then?
I am.
You're doing it
I
on
never
a dirt
realized
bike, though,
one
right?
side was 2,000 feet
Yeah,
lower than the other.
Aren't you doing it on a YK 600 two-stroke Yamaha?
I've done a lot of stuff with her. I've always said that
It's a family show.
She competes.
Keep it clean, Clint.
She competes and I participate in some of her stuff.
Well, that sums up your love life too.
Yeah.
All you are for her is cardio. There's no love involved.
I don't think I'm going to survive this. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I'm going to survive this.
Foreplay at
Maybe
Clint's
that's
house.
her plan.
Hey, foreplay at Clint's house is when Jenny says, "Hey man, I really need to work in about 6 solid minutes of cardio." Okay, babe, I'm ready.
Just a quick medication.
Just to, right.
A minute later, I still got 5 to go.
You continue to ignore those innuendos, but you just won't let it go.
The only time Clint smokes is after sex. He's up to 3 packs a day. Unbelievable. Rim to rim. That made me really anxious. I'm excited. She is such a nice lady too. Man, I hope she's not listening.
No, she doesn't.
Good. Steve Kidder can help us with anybody we've offended. Just reach out to Steve Kidder for all your legal issues, and he will certainly help you. Dana Moore de la Garza, who plans funerals, says, please come see me before your trip, Clint. And then Complete 360, when you leave here, if you wanted a gluten-free, high-protein fruit waffle right there at Complete at the Health Bar, they've got it. They also have smoothies, paninis, wraps, vegetable bowls, and they're about to start offering really high-end meats, quarter, half, and by the pound. So seriously, it's something I'd recommend. I've seen Clint work out. We give him a hard time, but he's in fantastic shape.
BJ Nelson talks about the old casino cruise ship, and this sums up the response that I got from most people that I talked to that went on it. How'd it go? I got seasick.
Oh, yeah.
It's out there floating in about 4 foot of water.
Yeah, I'm going to play cards on that thing. I was so lightheaded from the Dramamine that I OD'd on the
Right.
morning, you know.
No wonder you got the bad beat.
Yeah, I think it was a bad beat. It could have been a pair of twos.
Right. He's betting everything on it.
Yeah. It's $100 buying a pair of twos.
Dealer's got a red queen,
Bluffing.
red queen and the puppy foot out there.
I'm sorry.
It was bluffing.
BJ says the day before the race, fake a COVID positive test. You
Maybe just document me, okay.
that 24 mile, Jenny does these races where I'm like, like Tough Mudder, like she laughs at those things. You know, ask her, well, tell me about a Spartan race. Oh, she's like, well, you run a half marathon and then you fight 7 members of MS-13 with nothing but a
Butterfly knife
Butterfly
and a
knife.
paperclip.
and then you bicycle 12 miles and then you have to wrestle a bear that's angry.
It's just a brown bear.
The original Spartans, when Spartan first
Involved chariots and
the gladiators.
yes.
They had gladiators at the last obstacle was you had to get past gladiators. And people were getting hurt. They ended that quickly, but yeah, you would fight.
So BJ Nelson just
We
pointed
become
out
so soft as
Yeah,
a country.
that's a broken arm in a race. Come on.
now that BJ Nelson says that they have just absorbed all the customers from Legacy, which was another family. So they are the only family owned,
Good for them.
folks in let's see, what did Roy Gutierrez to say?
Maybe I need to have a conversation with you, BJ, in reference to the rates in Fannin.
Real. Hey, I'm gonna back up because the cops just showed, and I don't know if you
Has nothing to do with the fact that his gun's in your back
We were
right
talking
now.
about Jackson County earlier at the Bill Posey the show, and I don't know.
There might still be a warrant or two left for you.
I'm gonna enjoy it, gentlemen.
Hey, we enjoyed you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for being accepted. Thanks for the info on the airport and the budget and all that. So good.
Really informative.
Let's take one. Sheriff Louderback, not impressed. Sheriff Louderback promising Tucker Carlson will not be calling. Folks, Marno Mortgage, reach out to
There
Terry.
was no sarcasm in that at all, was there?
Reach out to Terry Murray at 541-5454. Terry Murray can make your mortgage dreams come true. Whether you want to pull cash out of a refi and redo a bathroom, kitchen, or new flooring, maybe just paint the house, put in a pool, maybe all of the above. New roof, if you need a new roof, absolutely. Reach out to
Just wait, hurricane season's.
Motto Mortgage. Yeah, just wait, the insurance will pay for it. Went Services called Aaron Went yesterday, had an opportunity. A first responder was having problems with his AC, and seemed to be nothing wrong with the
You're
unit.
not a first responder.
I'm not. No, mine was fine. I was just sweating a lot because I'm obese. Because I've been over there, the Fat Ass Food Court. Reach out to Went Services for your electrical, plumbing, new and remodeling, commercial, residential. They do it all. Full service electrical and plumbing contractor. Reach out to them. USA Concrete Coatings.
5-7 at home. Charlie Garcia and the gang will come out in less than a day in most cases.
Yeah.
They will transform your concrete slab or space.
Sand, clean, seal the cracks, go in. You won't have any more cracks in your garage floor. No more oil stains.
And if they do develop, you won't see them because you'll have a
Yeah.
nice.
Tough as nails, polyurethane coat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Adam Daughtry, new commission on the Victoria Planning Commissioner. Checking in. I think he gets sworn in this week.
Sheriff Louderback just carrying his basic work weapon today, not his classic pistol whip. Remember when we need to give him some FaceTime? He pointed that out quickly as he entered. Be careful. That's high-tech equipment there, Sheriff. Be careful. It's quality stuff. Hello, sir, and welcome.
Good morning.
How are you? You doing well?
Doing fine.
Now that the border crisis is over, now that everybody that comes across is
Wait a minute on that.
coming across legally and vaccinated.
Let's work with truth here.
Okay. Yes, sir. Tell us what's the latest.
Well, I mean, it would appear once Kamala Harris went to El Paso, the media has just stopped covering this stuff. So it has to
Have
be
you talked to
over.
her?
Let's work with reality.
Have you talked to Kamala?
No,
She hadn't reached
I'm
out.
not on the call list.
She's a call girl.
So let's work with a couple of things right off the front. The reality world of what's actually happening here, we see probably the worst example of American government in the federal world that we've ever seen. So your local sheriffs here are extremely busy with jails full, COVID. Now, let me touch on COVID just a little bit because as we started arresting illegal aliens that are being smuggled here in the U.S. and coming from the dead of night. So actually, let me back this up a little bit. So we have two separate groups here coming across the border, literally about hundreds of thousands here. But you have a group who walk in and say that they're claiming asylee status here in the United States. And of course, the claims have been over 90% baseless and not applicable to the asylee statutes here in the federal government, here in the United States. And then you have another complete group of folks who come into the United States that are they just come in and they don't want to be identified. They're not asking for asylum status. They're simply coming into the United States in a hidden form, whether they're smuggled by the cartel, which is the majority of the cases. And these are the folks that we're running into now daily. So whether it's 4:30 in the morning, whether it's 24 hours a day, we're running into the same situation over and over. I'm getting calls from up and down the coast on the travel route into Houston, Waller County, and Fort Bend County has been involved with stuff. Morton, Clayburgh, all the way up here. Each of us are handling our own individual statistics and situations that we're running into daily with large groups of illegal aliens being transported with a very organized structure. For example, 4:30 the other morning, 3 vehicles, one loaded with up to 20, 2 other transport vehicles with them, or assist vehicles with them, that probably were responsible for the pickup. So the property damage that goes along with that, hopefully we were able to get the Democrats back in our state capital. Possibly we can get some property damage funding done through the legislature and governor's initiatives. So hopefully if your fence, your new fence is run through, hopefully there'll be some access to funds for that.
Well, let's listen to these headlines from Customs and Border Patrol. Last Thursday, 2 MS-13 gang members and a sexual predator among those illegal immigrants that were arrested and apprehended. And then on Monday, 3 sex offenders and a member of MS-13 amongst those apprehended. These are the folks coming through, folks.
I'd say that's the norm. That's a real common thing. And let's touch real quickly on another, probably the worst example of bad federal government that historically will ever go down. And that's the COVID issue that we're going into. So up and down the border, up and down the travel routes, these people are sick. I mean, I have COVID in the jail. I'm out of a quarantine cell now with 20 in it. I have COVID. I came from illegal aliens that coming into jail. So it's they are not healthy as they come across. And the large populations that are coming across here, that's having an effect here. And yet the federal government will not take any steps to.
I mean, they are the Delta variant. They are the variant. They're coming across and bringing the COVID with them.
It's not just COVID. These people are not healthy at all. It's always been a concern. It's always been there, for decades. Our ranchers have dealt with the different issues that have come across in the southwestern border issue.
Unbelievable. Ash is over here reading.
I'm just trying to
He's looking at his 401k.
Well, because I thought I saw that like 200,000 was the number for July, which would put it up about 20,000 from the number in June that were detained. And estimates are anywhere from, depending on who you talk to, that represents about 3% to 10% of those that they're catching, right? That's kind of the range that I've heard and read in various publications.
I mean, we have plenty of communities that are 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 5,000 people. Yesterday in Del Rio, Texas, there were over 1,200 in one group.
Yeah.
So you're having small cities come across the border daily.
Scott Tomko says Mayorkas is going to the border, but how can he show his face down there and say we have a plan when all this is going on daily? Surely the director of the Department of Homeland Security knows these facts. They just choose not to report them, correct? I mean, he doesn't.
No, they're being reported,
but he doesn't
chooses to
dispute these
ignore
numbers,
them.
does he?
Well, started to not use Alejandro Mayorkas in the Department of Homeland Security, our manager of border security, national security issue, which he's the secretary of that. And that's not the Alejandro Mayorkas I met back in 2014-15 under the Obama administration. He's unrecognizable now. The man actually knows how to secure the border and is submitted to the politics of the Biden administration.
So he could get a job.
Or keep a job.
Well,
I equate it to honor. You're asked to do things that you know are detrimental to Americans in Texas. And if you'll do that with a straight face and tell us that he's taking the steps necessary to secure this nation, that's false.
Do you think that the bigger political agenda of the Democrats and their quest in their belief that Texas must turn blue and all this is that part of the Biden administration's overall big picture plan? Are they willing to allow the delusion and the problems that are persisting in Texas for their long-term goal of flipping Texas blue?
Well, I think punishing Texas is clearly part of the agenda, but the leaders, the listeners here with your radio show have to understand that the vision of an open border what they see, and that's what they want. And all of this is by design, and by intent, and by strategy, with careful planning. So all of these things, this is no accident. This is no just poor, inept government at work here. This is planned. This is Alejandro Mayorkas knows exactly what he's doing with this. This is a strategy. Whether you want to say it's a permanent majority for this country, then fine. I'm okay with that. But this situation that we're enduring right now, which is costing counties money, which Commissioner Ives did a great job this morning talking about dollars and cents here. It's costing the city of Victoria, it's costing every county, it's costing every law enforcement agency that we have here on the proliferation of drugs, human trafficking, the overall crime picture and outlook here in Texas is certainly impacted by governmental policies here.
Has Jackson County declared a state of emergency to try to seek some of those federal
I
funds?
see no downside to that whatsoever.
Has Victoria County, Clint, declared a state of emergency in order to seek some federal funds for? Do you think we should? I mean, is there a downside to doing so? I have not heard of a downside. I think we're in a state of emergency. We have people streaming through our county. We have interdiction task forces are stretched to the limits. I don't know.
Let's look at it this way too. If you're a county judge and you're looking at this situation, you're used to declaring these type of emergencies. It's been a fairly narrow scope. So you're looking at Judge Zeller here. Does a great job here in Victoria County representing the area. There's all the commissioners and the judges look at this thing and say, gosh, this is a border security issue, a national security issue possibly, but it's not a hurricane, it's not a natural disaster, it's not a pipeline issue. And so wrapping their heads around a completely separate thing like this and declaring that as an emergency is new, and I think they're looking at it. I've talked to Judge Zeller about this personally, and I don't see a downside to it. I see a possible avenue for replacement of equipment. DeWitt County had two condos that sideswiped each other and one rolled over. Well, those are direct costs to DeWitt County to replace those two vehicles. So that falls upon Commissioner's Court and Sheriff's budget, which is impacted by that Tahoe today, $80,000 a piece outfitted. So you're looking at substantial dollars that would impact the county budget.
That money could go to driver's training.
Clint, those Tahoes sideswiped each other on a circle track right outside of Cuero. It was a Friday night fundraiser.
No, we joke. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Expanded the county. But the point is, if you file a declaration, then the county at some point in time, upon legislative action, which you've been unable to do for people that have advocated their elected role, then county could be restored to have those dollars replaced by state dollars.
Well, let's be honest. If we have a stronger border or enforcement of the border of our immigration laws, most likely that chase isn't taking place and you're not having to replace two of those vehicles.
We did have to do the Trump administration.
I just can't wrap my head around the concept of an open border. Does everybody get to vote? Do we even vote anymore? Does everybody get free education? Do those people that just stream across the border, are they entitled to?
Yes.
I don't get it. I don't see how Biden believes or his administration believes they're going to tax the rich enough to accommodate an infinite number of folks who stream across an open border. If I'm a 17-year-old kid in Guatemala and I'm wearing the flip-flops that my brother wore before me, and I hear that the border is open in South Texas, I'm going because I ain't got nothing to lose. I can go up there to the fat-ass food court and work at Dunkin' Donuts. I got nothing to lose, man. I'm going. So if that's the case, does that kid then, he's disenfranchised? That kid, he needs to go to college, but he shouldn't have to have a high school diploma to do that because, he's been disenfranchised.
Where's the hundreds of millions we've been sending there in foreign aid?
All those things happen, but I think the leaders have to understand these are real people with real visions that are in power today.
Yes, sir.
They actually want these things to happen this way. there's plenty of folks out here in our communities who believe that they're just looking for a better life.
Nah.
And I think you have to ask yourself the question, well, how many is enough? I've debated this with Democratic leadership at times in the past years, where is it 20 million, is it 10 million, is it 50 million, is it 100 million? So at some point in time, the infrastructure in this country, we have to figure out exactly just how many is enough.
You're dressed in black, or in some cases camo. You're covering your face. You're evading arrest or detention. You're not coming here for a better life. You're coming here to hide in the shadows. And when you read headlines like sex offenders and gang members coming across, you're being placed into this country to help those gangs and those cartels do what they do. The thing that I can't wrap my head around is the narrative that it's families and moms and kids, when everybody that seems to get pulled over in the surrounding counties are a bunch of 18 to 25-year-old males dressed in dark clothes and fatigues and hiding their faces. Who does that? Criminals.
So as one of the founding members of the Texas Regional Sheriff's Alliance, and somebody, BJ Nelson, says, hey, did the sheriff's fundraiser, did that help the alliance with the crisis? And would it be helpful if we did it again? She's kind of asking, is there going to be another one on the horizon?
So yes, on both accounts.
Good.
The Texas Sheriff's Alliance enabled us really. We have an event on the 29th and 30th of September that's in DC. That enables us to travel there and attend that event. So without those funds and our travel, we've been to, I think, 6 events here in Texas that has certainly helped us to get more attendance in those issues. When President Trump came down to McAllen, we had representation from from the Gulf Coast area, from the sheriffs that were able to attend that. And it certainly helped in that respect.
Awesome.
We're out of time, folks.
We are out of time. We appreciate you coming by always.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Good
sir.
visit with you, Sheriff. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sheriff.
Good visit with Clint Ives today.
Sheriff A.J. Louderback, the sheriff in Jackson County, a great friend of the show. By the way, talking about regional, think globally and act locally. Sheriff Louderback has been getting a lot of national attention as his no-nonsense message resonates with folks like Tucker Carlson and like some of the more, national pundits. Are you telling me to hurry along?
Yep, I am.
You think that some James Brown from the Brother Man's going to trump this? It's great radio right here, folks. If you don't like this radio, go listen to pop music somewhere.
Can't wait till tomorrow. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West will be here, Texas
In
gubernatorial
studio.
candidate.
He
Looking
will
forward to
be
that
here.
visit.
Enjoy it. Hey, hang tight. Brother Ralph and Brother Gary Moses will be next. We're going to get Gary's sports report tomorrow. But love you guys. Have a great day. And thanks to Commissioner Ives and Sheriff Louderback for being with us. You folks have a great day and drive safe.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye. Did you really give me that? You gave me that?
HFC Magic Money Fund assumes no